Welcome to all of you. This is the K-12 related arts TIC. You are in the right session. Today we're going to hear from three different educators: K-5 PE teacher, a high school art teacher, and a 5th grade band teacher. So you're going to get a wide variety. And hopefully once you see all the things that they can provide today, you'll be able to bring some of that back to your district and share with your colleagues. That would be excellent. A couple things just so you know, if you do not know much about the Heartland office here. Right out these doors are the restrooms. We will have a break between each session. Also, right by the doors that you came in, there is a lounge area, so you can get coffee there, you can get refreshments and candy and all that stuff. Other than that, if you have any questions, we do have some individuals on Zoom, so we will ask that you use the mic so they can hear you as well, and they can participate as much as possible. If you didn't sign in, we do want you to sign in. I will pass that sheet around if you need that. Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, without further ado, we have Bart Jones. He's from Van Meter Community School District. He's the K-5 PE teacher.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Everybody awake? Good. All right. As I said, I am Bart Jones. I'm a K-5 physical education teacher from Van Meter Schools. A little bit about me. I am a third-generation teacher on both sides of my family, all grandparents on both sides, parents, sister, aunts and uncles. I tried to do the math. I'm like 80% teacher. So I didn't think I had a choice coming out. I've never really dreamed about doing anything else. Been a cyclone my entire life. Filled out one college application and half of another, and went to Ames, spent 5 years there, was on the 5-year plan. From there, went to the Rabner Treatment Center right outside of Fort Dodge. Then my journey took me down to the Sadell School District in Des Moines, and now ultimately I'm in the Van Meter Community School District, where I have been for the past 11 years. More specifically at the elementary level for the last 4 years. Started off at the secondary level. Now I'm kind of flipped the coin, so to speak, and now I'm down at the elementary level. If at any point during you have questions, obviously feel free. One thing I want to pass around, there is an iPad that I'm going to pass around. If you could add your name to this app. I will talk about this app a little bit later. It's called Team Shake. In the upper right-hand corner, there is a plus sign. If you hit the plus sign, add in your name, and hit add, I will use this app later to raffle off some Plickers cards. If you don't know what Plickers cards are, you will at the end of the presentation. And this is a $20 Amazon value and saves you a lot of time if you want to. So I'm going to start the iPad over here. So just please hit the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner, add your name, hit add to the class, and then just simply pass the iPad around. All right, a little bit about my program. I'm fortunate enough to see my kids daily. 340 kids, 17 classes every day. Okay, I have 20-minute PE Monday through Thursday. I have 15-minute PE on Friday. It's kind of like a revolving door. One goes out and the other one's already coming in. Okay, so time management and structural management of the class is at its utmost of importance to me in order to ensure that my students are learning what I want them to learn and that they're in a safe environment. We've been doing that area, daily PE, for the last 4 years. It's very nice to say that I can see my kids 180 days throughout the year, just as much as the general education classroom teacher. As we know, some colleagues in the physical education area, they can see them once a week, maybe, on a six-day rotation. My curriculum is very non-traditional. You might think, first thing that comes to you hear about PE is dodgeball. Okay, unfortunately, that's what comes out. I do not play dodgeball in my classroom. I don't have any human target activities, except maybe possibly one small one. Anyway, going on, but I'll explain that a little bit later. So, non-traditional curriculum, as there we have examples of things that I do at the elementary level. When I was in elementary, obviously a lot of those weren't even invented yet, and we didn't do a lot of those types of activities. So I want to provide a wide range of curriculum to my students so they can hopefully be an active person outside of school. Tech in my classroom. When I came out of college, the heart rate monitor was just starting to take off. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but within my classroom, we didn't have any whiteboards. So our our district 4 years ago wanted us to start posting I can statements, which many of you maybe do. Okay, so my first avenue of tech was a rolling whiteboard where I would write the I can statement on there every day. That got pretty cumbersome, erasing and so on and so forth, hard to make it specific to a certain classroom. So then I asked the district for a projector, and will never go back to the whiteboard. Okay, for those of you that don't have a projector, I would highly encourage you to get one, and hopefully after the presentation you can see many different uses for it. Right now they're probably pretty much staples in the classroom, but 4 or 5 years ago it wasn't so in my classroom. I project my daily learning targets up there. I have a daily PowerPoint where I kind of make my lesson plan, and I project that to the students. So at the beginning of every class, after we do our instant activity, the kids come in and we go to a specific spot and we talk about what do I want them to be able to by the end of the period. They see this. Okay, they can read it. Those upper level grades that can read it, the younger level grades can identify a couple letters here and there and some numbers. Then throughout the lesson, I kind of break it down, and I also show different parts. For example, this last couple weeks ago, we were working on gymnastics or tumbling skills. This was a slide I showed which talks about how we broke it down between the kindergarten, first grade, and third grade, what specific skills I was looking for throughout the class period. Okay, so that's an example of how I've used PowerPoint the last 2 years every day in class to not only keep myself focused, but give the kids a visual to see to help them, those that more are visual learners. Okay, so this is basically my second year doing the daily PowerPoint, and then for myself, for a management aspect, I found that has been very helpful for me in the physical education area. Some apps that I like to utilize on my iPad are here. Some of you are familiar with some of them. Some of you maybe you're not. They range from a bowling scoring app, which the kids use, to Class Dojo, to Plickers, to a QR code scanner, so on and so forth, like that. So today I'm going to talk about these 7 apps. Okay, all of them are free. One of them is 99 cents. So for $1 and less, you can have incorporate 7 areas into your program. Comic Life is a little bit more. A lot of us have Comic Life maybe on our Macs already from our district. If you don't, I would highly encourage you to get it. So the first one that I'm going to talk about today is 5-second GIF, which is up in the left-hand corner. All right, so here's the scenario. Which one is easier for you guys and everyone to comprehend? So if you come into my classroom and I have a folding mat on the ground and I say this to you, go ahead and sit on one end of your mat with your feet in front, knees bent, and arms straight behind you, with your hands on the floor. Raise your hips off the ground and walk forward on your feet and hands without letting your hips touch the floor. That was a lot of words, especially for a kindergartner who's like, what was the first word you just said? I went and saw this movie over the weekend. Right? We know how that goes. So obviously, let's break that down. I probably couldn't do that myself, just based off of those words. So through this app, which is a 4-step app, you could make GIFs. Okay, this is what I just said verbally, but now you're seeing it in a moving picture form, which conveys a ton of information. Okay, I was describing the crab walk. Which one's much easier? Obviously, hopefully everyone say this one's much easier to understand and comprehend and mimic. Okay? So here's another one. Instant activity. Students came in. This was an intro to spike ball, where I had this projected on the screen. The students knew what equipment to get. They knew exactly what to do. I had hula hoops all over the ground. They knew, they knew what motion to follow. Okay, I didn't need to say anything more. I didn't need to convey any messages. I didn't need to give instructions that Susie or Billy didn't hear. Okay, they came in and saw this. This app is basically 4 steps. You record it, you trim it, you export it, and you import it. 4 steps. There are GIF apps out there that allow you to have longer GIFs. Don't know exactly the cost on all of those, but this is one I found that is free and very easy to use. Okay? So I want you at your tables to take 30 seconds and see if there's a way you could add that app to your classroom. So think to yourself. And when you're ready, go ahead and share with someone next to you. Could you incorporate that? All right, do we have any brave souls that want to share with the group? Yes, ma'am.
Even like your daily routines in the classroom. So when Or just adding in like QR codes to your PBIS signs of gifts.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing.
We have a question from Zoom.
Yes.
The question is, why GIF and not short video clips? Is there a difference, I guess? Or?
Well, I guess I found this to be an easier format to use, a much easier to, the app is, I guess the app is free, and then this loops automatically, where if it's a short video clip, sometimes it just starts and stops and it doesn't loop. So if you don't see it the first time, you've missed it. Whereas this, it continuously loops, and if you miss it the first time, you can go back and you can watch it over and over and over again. Anybody else have a idea? I was thinking there were some band potential ideas maybe in there out there, but no? Or anyone? Yes?
We're art teachers, so we thought just having the instructions, and we saw that you did it on PowerPoint, but since they're short, maybe even having several, like this is step 1, step 2.
Totally. Yeah.
And that would, because we repeat ourselves over and over again, and this would save us from that. And we're visual learners, so are the kids.
Yeah. Very good. It could be a procedure you want to for the kids to do. It could be a cleanup procedure. It could be a good. This is what I expect of how to clean up the table, or where things go in the middle, or a certain spot like that. Anybody else? Any volunteers? No. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. So those are just a couple examples of how I've used this app. Fairly relatively new. It's not a staple in my classroom yet, but I'm always looking at different ways to incorporate it. All right, the next one that I've recently started using is Class Dojo. Some of you are familiar with Class Dojo. Some elementaries are Class Dojo wide. Is the iPad going around okay? Just want to make sure everybody's getting signed up and everything like that. Oh, awesome. All right, so if you don't know, Class Dojo is kind of considered a behavior management app, so to speak. Within the national standards, there are 5 national standards. Standard 4, physical literate individual exhibits personal and social behavior that respects self and others. That's kind of wordy, so I've changed that to more student-friendly language. I can play fairly. All right? Within that, the national standards has put out benchmarks that give you verbal indicators of what that might look like. Follow directions, use equipment, so on and so forth. We are a PBIS school. We have 3 things: be respectful, be responsible, and safe. Those 3 things encompass, in my opinion, all of these, plus more. Okay, let's make it simpler. So in the Class Dojo app, you can add classes. So like I said, I have 17 classes a day. So these are not all, but these are the majority of my classes. Within that, I have students there to the right. You can import class lists, so make that easier. You don't have to type them out, individual person. When the students enter my classroom, you can also weight points. Okay, they come in and they automatically get 3 points. A point for being respectful, responsible, and safe. And it's their job to keep those points. As we know, it's harder to keep an A than earn an A, right? Okay, at least it used to be, maybe not anymore. So they automatically get those 3 points. If at some point they would lose a point for not being respectful or responsible or safe, I could go to Needs Work and I simply click on that icon and it automatically deducts that point. You can make this as specific as possible. You can weight positive points, you can weight negative points, you can give individual points, you can give class points. You can make it as specific or as vague as you want it to be. So I use this also as a communication piece to parents. The class, there is a website, classdojo.com. It does allow you to create letters. It automatically generates letters for you can send home. Mom and dad can sign up. They can get a weekly email for Johnny or Susie's progress in this standard. So the kids come in, they get 3 points. If they keep all their 3 points, great. If they don't, they would lose a point. Also, there's what's called the class story, where you can put videos, you can put pictures, another way to communicate to parents what is going on in the classroom. This is just an example. We were doing I believe a fitness Jenga activity, so I took the game of Jenga and made my own blocks, had some colors, and incorporated some fitness activities to it. So this is just another platform to share what's going on in your classroom. Free app, and so on and like that. At the end, there's able to generate points. No more of you having to keep track of points on a clipboard or Excel sheet. You can then you can dissect the points as you want to. It can be by day, it can be by week, it can be by month. So I'm choosing to enter this grade in the grade book monthly. So at the end of each month, each student is going to get a grade in that standard of standard 4. So here is my rubric. And there's examples, obviously, over there. So what I use, at our elementary level, we have exceeds, meets, approaches, and beginning. So this is one way I've used this app to not only, basically 3 benefits of it. Easy communication with parents in terms of behavior, positive, and if something needs to be corrected. You can also put in right there when you award points, you can send mom and dad an email or put a note right away so they can see if they did a great job or if they need to work on a certain area. It helps assess a standard for me, a wide level of benchmarks of be respectful, be responsible, and safe. Okay, it's just another way that I can minimize the things that we have to do as teachers, and that way I can maximize the movement and maximize the activity of my students in class. Okay, so that's how I'm choosing to use Class Dojo. In my school, I'm the only one that is using it. Others, obviously, are elementary-wide. So hopefully, Class Dojo could be something that maybe you could see or incorporating into your classroom, a communication piece to mom and dad. Has anybody used Class Dojo already? Beneficial? Yeah, good feedback from parents and so on?
I didn't know that much feedback from parents. I use it with just get some class to keep track of like different tallies for different, anything you want to keep track of. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, kids liked it.
Pretty easy for you to manage?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Compared to the old way, probably a little bit easier. Yeah, it definitely saves us some time as teachers. All right, so standard 3 talks about in our national standards about movement. I can be healthy, I can achieve a healthy well-being. Start off my area with a heart rate monitor. Fresh out of college in 2003, heart monitors were just coming up. Secondary level at Van Meter, we got some. After about a year or two, didn't quite work out very well. The strap was the biggest problem or the biggest turnoff of the students. So from there, in 2010, we were able to get a grant, and I was able to get some polar actives, which was in the lower right-hand corner. So basically, it still measures activity. It doesn't measure heart rate, but it measures moderate to vigorous activity. Which are supposed to get 60 minutes or more of moderate to vigorous activity a day. So this is able for my kids to track what they had. Also, it had some basic pedometers that the students could wear. The negative of the polar active was that it was not uploadable. So we had to have Johnny and Susie and Billy and Timmy all tell me their times, and I had to write them down, and I had to record them. So as we know, that took time. So that's 2010. So now we're progressing on from there. Now I'm using these, which I have fallen in love with, and then now there's even a newer version of these. These are called the Gopher FitStep Pro pedometers. Kids can come in, they can put them on, and they move. And the beauty of it is that they are uploadable. All right, the computer program takes the data from them and then generates out a report. Okay, it takes you, we'll show you in a little bit, it takes each person 1 to 2 seconds max to upload the pedometer. There is even a new version now which syncs via Bluetooth, which I know some PE teachers are going to. So again, it basically has an accelerometer on the inside. It measures all 3 planes of movement, up, down, side to side, forward and backward. It records total activity time, number of steps taken, and most importantly in my mind is the MVPA time, or moderate to vigorous physical activity time. So this is how I have it organized within my classroom. The students come in, excuse me, each student is given a number and a color. The pedometers all have stickers on them, they have numbers on them, they are color coded. So everybody knows what pedometer is theirs. The little squares where the case is, that also has a color coded sticker in there. So it tells everyone exactly where to put things back. Okay, each grade has their own sheet, and they come in, they grab their pedometer, they put it on, and we're ready to go. When it comes time at the end of class to upload, this is what my scenario or my setup looks like. I have my laptop, and I have 3 readers right there. Okay, one reader comes with a pack if you buy them. They come in sets of 15, 30, up to 100 if PE teachers have that many students. As we know across the country, some people do have that many students. So students come up in 3 lines. They simply upload the pedometer. Now another great way to use a GIF would be, well, I don't remember, Mr. Jones, how to upload the pedometer. I can show this to them. This is not from me. This is I was able to get this from a PE teacher down in Texas. He started out in Iowa, but unfortunately we lost him to Texas. But he was nice enough to share this. So you can project, I can project this on the screen, which I did when you were first learning about them. There's another great way to use a GIF on how to put the pedometer into the reader. Any questions about how I use the pedometers? Yes, ma'am.
How much are they, and did you get another grant to buy them?
They are, this version is about, I believe, $30 a piece. I was able, through our Van Meter Educational Foundation, I was able to apply and get a grant for these. I was. 30 of them, plus came with one reader, and I have bought some, a 4 USB splitter and a couple other readers, was about a little under $1,000. Okay, the newer versions, the Bluetooth streaming ones, those are about $40 a piece. So obviously you don't have to have the readers, you don't have to have any of this stuff. They'll just push a button and it'll sync via Bluetooth to the program. So.
Ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How often do you do this? Is this daily? Because you have such short times with kids.
Correct. Depending on the unit, it might be daily. Usually use them Monday through Thursday. Friday I don't because I have 5 minutes even less, so I only have 15 minutes on Friday. But within the 20 minutes, I would say 1 to 2, hopefully 3, at the most 4 times a week. So yeah, we would use them every day. So it's just part of the routine. The kids come in, just part of that expectation that you set. This is what we're doing. These are the procedures. And they go pretty darn fast. They do. Yes?
Yeah, Bart, what age group? Yeah, what age group? I mean, I know you teach K through 5,
Yep.
but what age group are you using this with?
So that's a funny story. That's a good story. So beginning of the school year, I thought, hey, I'm gung-ho, let's go K-5. Whew, what a mistake. First day of school, I didn't know any better, right? I'm taking a risk. First day of school, kindergartners, let's try to put on our pedometer. Guess who else was there? KCCI's there too. Awesome. Yeah, it was great. 20-minute class. That's all we did that day. We didn't even get all the pedometers on. So anyway, after day 1, kindergarten was taken out of the mix, and I took first grade out of the mix. So we started 2-5 throughout the first semester. I've gone down to first grade. I'm not sure about kindergartners yet. So I think next year I might start 2-5 or start 1-5 and hopefully get to kindergarten. My goal is to do K-5, but just depending, as we know, just depending on the class, different classes can handle different things. Certain students can handle it, but it was, yeah, that was good. That was good. Eric Hansen's right there with the microphone, and we got the camera right there, and how do I do this? Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. So anyway, it was fun. Thank you for putting your names on our app here. So the kids come in, it takes each student, like I said, about 2 seconds to do, then they go put their pedometer back in the case, specifically where it goes, so they know, because they know the class right after them is coming in. So 240 kids share 30 pedometers, 25 pedometers, 24 pedometers. My biggest class is 24. Some people use a different storage method. I use that because it's just easier for me. We talked about that one. Also, I have this projected, right next to them. If you can see it in this picture on the left-hand side, there is a rubric where the kids look. The goal of Shape America is try to get us to have half of our time in moderate to vigorous physical activity, have our students at that kind of intensity. So I came up with a rubric, thanks to an idea of another PE teacher out of Illinois. So this is sitting up next to them. So if they know when they upload, it says right on the pedometer how many minutes of MVPA they had during that class. If they know that they upload and they have 10 minutes or more, they would earn, quote unquote, they would earn a EX for that day. If it was 8 to 9, they would earn an M. If it was 6 to 8, they would earn an AP. If it was below 6, they would earn a BE for that day. At the end of every, so that is a little self-reflection. So I have that posted so the kids can see that. So they can have a little internalization of, okay, this is what I have. Hopefully we have some desire next time. At the end of each month, you can create a report. You can make it as specific as possible. You can have number of steps taken. You can have number of days over a certain number of steps. This is average MVPA time. This is what I look at throughout the month. Okay? So this just gives you an example of a breakdown. So this is one of my actual second grade classes. Gives you the month of January. So on average, so some of us, a lot of us didn't get up. One of us got above the 8 on average, which was earn an M in that area. Okay, it might be what I was doing in the class at that time, like we did gymnastics in January, so we didn't use them during gymnastics. Or if you're doing yoga, obviously there's not a lot of MVPA in yoga, so we're not going to be using them then. But this gives you an idea of how to use the technology to then generate a report, which will then can give you an overall assessment type of activity or assessment type of situation. Okay. Everybody okay still? Good. Nobody's asleep? No? Okay, good. All right, now we're going to get into probably my favorite thing, relatively speaking, in terms of formative assessment, which would be Plickers, or paper clickers is what it was. Okay, being in the PE realm, we never had classroom clickers. I didn't really know what those were. Teachers talked about them. Didn't really have a grade. We had paper and pencil to take assessments, right? So I handed out the paper, handed it back in, I got to grade it all. So how can we make that process faster? Okay, so this app was brought to my attention by another PE teacher on the East Coast, and we're going to use it here in a little bit. So it's called Plickers, if you are not familiar with it. It is an iPad app, but you can use it on your phone or your iOS or your Android. Some of you have a card in front of you. I didn't have enough for everybody, but we do have some pretty good number out there. On the card, there is a number and a letter. Each of my students, not only are they assigned a number, they're assigned a pedometer number, but they also are assigned a Plickers number. So they know the numbers are the same to maximize engagement, minimize transition time. When you hold your Plickers card, basically it's a fast way to answer a multiple choice question. Multiple choice or true and false. That's what it is. There's no essay, there's no higher order thinking involved. It's how can I quickly get a formative snapshot of what my students know. Okay? So on there is a number and a letter. When you want to answer the question, let's say the answer you want it to be A. You hold the card in front of you and you have A on top. I tell my students to hold it in front of their heart. Make sure their fingers are not on the outer edge. Can I borrow your card for a second? Sorry. So if it's A, I have A on top and I have my fingers on the edges and they stand here like this and they hold it. And I have an app on my iPad that I simply scan and we can get the data or their results. Okay, what used to take handing out papers, handing out pencils, asking the question, them writing them down, them not knowing how to do a letter, or didn't hear the question. From that down to collecting the papers, grading them all, took a lot of time, as we know. So how can we make our lives easier? How can we make it go faster? So hopefully this is one area that we can do that, especially in the physical education classroom. So any questions about how to hold the cards, those that have cards, if you've never held one or don't even know what I'm talking about, any questions on how to hold them? Okay, I think a lot of us are familiar with them, and if you're not, hopefully you will feel comfortable afterwards. This is what my organizational aspect looks like. So I have this on the wall. They are numbered. Students know which one they get. After they upload their pedometer, they go in and get their Plickers card, and they come back and they go to a certain spot, and we might answer a question. As a classroom setting, I know people have put them on the back of whiteboards, or they have them in their desk, or inside of a folder. There's all kinds of ways you can manage your classroom in this aspect. Okay, so like we did mention, it is an iPad app. It's free. So if you go look, I mean, that's a teacher's favorite word, right? Free. No one can go wrong with free, can they? So that's probably why I'm not on Teachers Pay Teachers very much, because it's not free. So we said it is an Android or an iOS app. So go ahead, you can search for it there. Again, it's iPad only, but you can use it on your device. So when you go ahead and open it, there's also a website. I set everything up on the website, and I use my app, my iPad, to then scan the cards. So I set everything up on the laptop and scan with the iPad. So I have my classes set up. You can distinguish them by grade. You can distinguish them by area if you want to. You can basically click on Add New Class, put in the name, what grade are they, or year, the subject. You can add a color if you want. Mine are, like my kindergartners are the same color on my app. The color doesn't matter, just for organizational purposes for you. You can add in student name via copy and paste, which is very nice. You can do it there on the right. You can do it through a Google Doc, or I've even done it through an Excel document. You can scan on an Excel document and you can cut and paste, and all of a sudden their names are on there. And then they are assigned a number. Okay, so this is what they question. Now you have your kids entered. Now you want to make a question. So you click on this, add new question, type it in. Is it multiple choice, true or false? Click on it. You can indicate the correct answer if you want. Something new this year that they've added after feedback from the teachers is you can put a GIF in there now. You can put a moving picture in there now if you want to. Okay, this company listens to the people who use it. They're taking feedback all the time. So if you use it and you want to provide feedback, you certainly can, because they've changed some things over, even in the last year. I've only been using them about a year and a half. Does this make sense how to make a question on that website? Just plickers.com is what it is. All right, whoops. So now we're going to go to the live view. Now we're going to use the cards. Now we're going to have some interactive fun. You can either live stream the questions if you want. Let's see if it comes up. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. Here we go. So the question is, this is always the question I give when I'm teaching the kids about Plickers. All right, don't worry, I'll give you the hint in case you don't know what the answer is. All right, so what is the Van Meter mascot? I hope that all my students know what our mascot is at school. It's a bulldog. So this is the live view. You can show things right away if you want to. You don't have to, and I'll talk about why, in my opinion, it's kind of limiting. So is it A, a lion, B, a warrior, C, a bulldog, or D, a cougar? Remember, you want the answer. So if you have a card in front of you, you can hold up your card. Not everybody has a card. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough. Then we can go ahead and we can scan and we can see how fast it goes. Good. Can you move your left hand back, sir? Just, you're covering up the black of the cards. Perfect. Fingertips on the back, on the sides, please. Okay. Good. Half the class is already done, and that took about, what, 20 seconds? Thank you for your participation, everybody. Correct. We will not be this spread out, obviously. In my classroom, we're kind of in an arc, so I just kind of stand in the middle and pan around. So now we can see the results. Looks like I missed number 9. Does anybody have number 9? Perfect. Okay. So the answer was D. Or not D, sorry, the answer was C. Okay? So it tells you, color-coded wise, who got it right, who got it wrong. Okay, you automatically know. All right? You can make this anonymous if you want to with numbers. You can put in students' names. Okay? I don't ever project the live view because, in my opinion, as we talk about the art table here, we're visual learners. I am too. That's why IKEA makes all their money, right? And we get so frustrated with their directions because they're all pictures and there's no words, is there? Okay, so does the live view make sense to everybody? So you can project live if you want to. All right, so here's that. Did you say you don't do that? I don't, and I'll tell you here why. Because right now, this is what the kids see. This is all the kids see. So that's going to the auditory learner, right? So if you listened and you can process through listening, boom, I got you. But if you didn't hear 3 of the words, then you're lost, right? And then I have to repeat myself. So what I do to try to get the visual learner engaged, which will hopefully, I try to do the auditory, the visual, and the kinesthetic learner, is I use the computer program Comic Life to make pictures that has the same question. Come on. But in this format. To me, I like pictures. This is more attractive to me and my students. My students can, if I'm a kindergartner, and I can walk down the hall and see the big picture of a big animal on the wall, I can hopefully deduce that that's our mascot. Okay, so it's the same exact question, only this is projected on the wall, and I still scan it, and I can still see who gets it right, who gets it wrong. Okay, so next question. One more question. This is one I used when we finished up our soccer unit. All right, we're going to test our knowledge here. Here's the question. What part of your shoe gives the most control to dribble, pass, trap, or shoot? All right, is it A, the outside, B, the inside, C, your heel, or D, your toe? So if you have a card, please go ahead and hold up your answer. We're going to see what we know. And, all right. and this will not be projected live, so don't worry, but I will know who gets it right, who misses it. No big deal. So this is just giving me right indication right now. If I have names, I have names for each student, so I can see Johnny and Billy and Susie's name, and they got it right, they got it wrong. Who needs to get a recheck? Who needs to get a little help, so to speak? All right, 11, was that 11? Oops, sorry. All right, good, done. So I just did 20 students in what, under a minute? And you know the answer already. You know the results. It's done. So the answer was B, inside of your foot. Okay, so out of 20 students, we had 12 get it right and we had 8 get it wrong. This tells me, color-coded wise, exactly who got it right, who got it wrong. Okay, now Plickers allows us to take that a step forward. So what do I do with that information? Where do I put it? How do I use it? So now Plickers listened to the people who use it and they said, is there a way to export this? Is there something you can do? So they now come up with what's called the scorecard, where you can now look at results of students' answers. Comes out with a percentage if you want to use a percentage that way, and you can equate that percentage to mastery or unmastery if you so choose. Okay? So the export, you don't need to export, it's right there on the program. You click on scorecard, and you click on the class, and boom, it has all the questions you've asked, and it has the student's name, and it tells you they got it right or wrong, gives you an overall percentage. So maybe you could use that in your classroom some way if you wanted to. Any questions about Plickers? Those of you that haven't used it, does it make a little more sense? Look easy to use, hopefully, maybe? Some of you that have used it, hopefully have used it in a similar fashion. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I guess my question is, can if you're using the iPad to scan and all that, and
Yep.
you were saying you're seeing it on there, does the app or website or whatever have to be open on your computer? Is it talking to each other?
No.
So you use your computer to connect to the projector to make your picture cool for the
Yes.
kids.
Yes.
So you could be in the hallway with an iPad. I mean, you totally could just have the iPad in order to just scan your class real quick. Okay.
Yep. As far as I know, I could be wrong, you do not need Wi-Fi to do it because it's the app. But if you want to look at the results and look at the scorecard, you have to go to the website where you go back later and look at it then. Yeah. All right. Any questions about Plickers? No? Hopefully you guys are a little more comfortable with that. You can see some applications in your classroom, hopefully. Yes?
Me again.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to use this.
Sure.
Can you laminate these?
Yes.
It still reads it fine?
You can, and I'll show you an example here. You can, yep. Does it work for you? I haven't been successful at it, but I know a PE teacher that is also a high school PE teacher that teaches swimming. She had someone laminate for them. You can print these off on the website on the handout there. I have a folder where I have Plicker cards where you can click and it's just a PDF file. It's all free. You can just download them. I put these on cardstock yesterday and cut them out. Or if you want a laminated version, you can go to Amazon. Or if you want to try to make your own, you can. But it was faster you can buy them. $40 a piece, $20 a piece, get you 40 cards. They're laminated. If you laminate them, use use matte laminate. Do not use gloss because the glare will interfere with the scan. Okay, 3 of you lucky people are going to go home with a set of Plickers cards today. All right, so we have that question, we have scoreboard, Comic Life. Okay, I love Comic Life because I'm a visual learner. You saw 2 applications that I used it in terms of questions for my students. I use it in other applications also. Okay, to create lesson plans or to create activities for my students, and then I would share these out to other PE teachers. Okay, this is just an example of how I use it. Another example of a underhand tossing activity with the younger kids, with the older kids. And here's my one, human target. Gaga ball is a little bit of a human target where you're hitting it on the ground. Maybe you've seen this at church camps and so on and so forth like that, maybe at recesses. So that's another application in how I use Comic Life. All kinds of areas you can use Comic Life. I really like it. It allows a lot of creativity. I'm really into my, right brain? right? When I'm in comic life. Then I can share these with other people. It's very visual. It's easy for them to understand. Okay, the app that you guys filled out earlier was Team Shake. A lot of times you have to divide the students up into different groups, different teams. We don't do captains anymore where, Billy and Susie are picked last. With this, you can create a class for each class, you can create a class for each one, and you can then simply shake the hat, and it will generate how many different teams you want randomly. Okay, I know one PE teacher uses this app 3 to 4 times in the same class period. I just use this earlier in the week. You can change the colors if you want. You can change the team names. I believe this one is 99 cents. This is the one app I'm showing you that's not free, unfortunately. I think it's 99 cents now. So it's just a great, easy way, yes, sir, to divide up your kids and say, I didn't, so-and-so wants to say favoritism or so on and stuff like that. Just blame the app. That's what I do. Blame the app. Yeah.
If you're in a situation where Billy and Steve don't work well together, is there a way you can plug that in and say, okay, you can generate it randomly, but keep these two away from each other?
I think there is, but to be honest, I don't know how to do that. But I think there is. One area that I've done to keep it more manageable for me because when you go from class to class and you have to change, I've taken screenshots of these and I printed them out, and then I stapled them together, then I color-coded them. So yeah, it's like 5 or 6 more steps. And that would allow you the manipulation of that. But I think there is a way to do that. I just unfortunately can't tell you how to. So I'm sorry I can't. So maybe you could see an application for this app in your classroom to divide up students into reading groups or random groups or however you want to do it. So I've used this, found this to be very beneficial. All right, so QR codes. QR codes in the physical education avenue are taking off. Okay, there's a QR code on your table. Maybe some of you use QR codes now in your classroom. This is the website I use to generate them. You guys might have others. This is one I've found that has been the easiest for me to use. You have all kinds of things you can link the QR code to here on the left. Type in the URL, hit download, boom, it's there. Add it into a document. Free. Free. Most recently, QR codes I used where our 4th and 5th graders, they were to create their own aerobic drumming routine. I'll give you an example of what aerobic drumming is here in a little bit, starring this guy, so you know what I'm talking about. So these are 4 songs that I let the students pick from. They were on YouTube. Our 4th through 5th graders have iPads they can use in school. So they took the QR, they had the sheet, they had their groups. As a group, they figured out what song they wanted. They scanned the code. Boom, that took them right to the song. They could practice the song in their group. They didn't have to worry about me. They were off on their own area within the gym. This is just one avenue that I've used QR codes in PE to help, give them some more choice or help facilitate or get information out to them in an easier manner. I put skill posters on the wall. Kids have scanned that for our jumping rope activities or gymnastics units. For learning country line dancing, I've had them scan a code, watch a video, and we've copied that. So there's just all kinds of avenues. Okay, let's see if this works. Aerobic drumming. Here we go. All right. So if you don't know what aerobic drumming is, this is it. I'm a drummer, but I can't move to the beat very well. But I'm okay. So basically, it's taking a stability ball, turning it into a drum, and make a routine. I think Lifetime Fitness might have a class, maybe. Okay? All right, enough of me dancing. Yeah, thanks. Okay, good. So that's just an example of what aerobic drumming is, so you guys have some background knowledge of that. Questions about QR codes? I'm sure you guys hopefully use those in your classroom. Google Forms, another avenue that are potentially maybe untapped in the elementary aspect. For if you choose to do fitness testing. Okay, there's FitnessGram out there, but that costs a lot of money. You have to house it in Texas. State of Iowa doesn't really have a server yet. So here's a way to record data information where you make the form, the kids can scan a QR code, take them right to the form, and they can fill it out. On the right, last spring, we have an elementary track meet. Some people call it a field day, whatever you want to call it. We call it puppy dog relay. So the students were able to sign in and pick what event they wanted to do, and we were able to sort and manage it a lot better than the old paper pencil method. Okay, the kids went down, I coordinated with the librarian, they went down during library time. This took them probably 2 minutes to do. And then we, as organizers, were able to take all that information. So there's 2 avenues of Google Forms. Also, you can use it for assessment on your iPads. This is a grid format. We have the criteria at the top, and you can simply go down and indicate what each student had under those criteria. And then you can obviously see the results to yourself if you don't want the paper and pencil avenue. So that's one area you can do in terms of assessment purposes. I know I went real fast really through Google Forms, so I'm trying to get us back on track for time. Any questions about Google Forms? No? All right, so I promote my program quite a bit through social media. On Twitter, Facebook, posted that aerobic drumming video of myself out on Facebook, put out there for the world to see. Just so the kids can access it maybe at home on a rainy day if they want to, or, poke fun at Mr. Jones, that's okay. So I have a YouTube channel, I have Vine, I'm active on Voxer, I have a Weebly website, and we have Instagram through our elementary PE program. As I go quickly draw out our raffle cards, are there any questions about anything I've talked about or things that have come to mind? Do you need to do the microphone? Tyler, real quick.
It sounds like you're a very connected educator. Might be worthwhile for you to share how you're getting at your ideas and kind of share that process with folks.
Okay. First avenue of social media for me was Twitter. Jumped on Twitter about 5 years ago, and it's only gotten better. It's an easy, free way to connect with educators all over the globe. That was my first avenue. Then I created a Facebook page for my elementary program. Another way to communicate to mom and dad what are the good things or what's going on in the classroom. Most recently created a YouTube channel. Knew other teachers are out there. Really was kind of scared of jumping into that. But now I've done that and I have never necessarily looked back. Vine and Instagram, just another way to get out information. Voxer, most recently, if you don't know what Voxer is, it's a walkie-talkie app where you can communicate with people globally. The old Sprint commercials where you have the old walkie-talkie cell phones and you do the whole walkie-talkie noise. And you can still share videos, you can still share pictures, links, so on and so forth like that. I'm very fortunate. My PLN is very diverse and it's a global area. As we know, teachers are very giving. If we reach out there and ask for something, chances are they're not going to say no. Nowadays, I honestly don't remember what is mine. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? If you get so much from other people and you incorporate it into your area, it might put your personal twist on it. It's only a big, huge benefit. No longer are we stuck in our classroom, relying on ourselves for the content or the books or the training we had, at personal PE or at school for myself now over 10 years ago. So if you're not on social media, Twitter's an easy way to get on there. And everybody is so willing and you meet so many nice people. So I would highly recommend that. Any other questions? I'll do the raffle quick and then I'll
Got another
stop.
question here.
Yeah.
Question is, what do you do with all the heart rate monitored data? How do you use that, incorporate that into your instruction?
Well, since I don't use the heart rate monitors anymore, kind of gone away from that just because of it didn't work out as well as for me, as my vision was. So I slowly went away from that because those weren't uploadable. I didn't have the expensive ones at the time. Was fighting the battle of the chest straps, having to wash those because we had to share those. So there was a sanitizing aspect and there was the management aspect of that. So at the elementary level, I've gone away from the heart rate stuff and more focused on MVPA, focused on that because it's a little easier for those guys guys and girls to comprehend of okay, how much should I move and what does that feel like and stuff like that. Okay, so when I draw, I'll do a random team shake here and we'll have 3 lucky winners for Plicker cards. Whoops, and sorry, I had my contact info up there if you need me. All right, so there is a random button on here down to the right. it looks like a hat with a little question mark on it. So our first winner, Brent Hansen. You have won a set. Congratulations. And how? If I say it wrong, I apologize. You have won a set. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yep, I was coming to you.
Thank you.
Yep. And one more. Dun, 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 dun. Alex Glade. You sure? Okay. Deb Vale.
I'm AEA, somebody.
Okay. Lisa Teagles. You are welcome. Hopefully you guys can see some application to not only Plicker cards, but some other information that I have shared today. I know I've thrown a lot at you in the last 40 minutes. Sorry for the technological bump there in the middle. But hopefully you can take something back to your classrooms. So thank you for being such a great audience. Thank you for the opportunity at Heartland to share.
Thank you, Bart. So we have about a 10-minute break. We can come back together. We can shift our time just a little bit. So we will come back around 9:38 or so, if you will. If you are tweeting, I forgot to mention this, we do have a hashtag. I don't know if you can see it up here on the banner, HAEA Tech. That is a nice way to connect with people that cannot be here, because obviously we can't get everyone here. We do have Zoom participants. We are tweeting, I am, and some other colleagues, but certainly if you learn something new or you have a question, tweet to the hashtag, and then we can have a conversation online as well. So take about 10 minutes, and we'll be back with Mike Berger.